call just told me David Anti has COVID.
But you realize
It's nothing
it's
today.
nothing today. Not only it's nothing, it's a cold, but
Yeah, but they give it a name.
today.
So I still hear the name. I still
Scary,
hear
yeah.
Like Joe.
Good morning. How was the night in Israel, Larry? Larry? No. Good morning, Larry. How was the night in Israel?
The night in Israel was good. You'll speak to Max. After you finish speaking to Max, it's an unbelievable experience. I just spoke to him for 45 minutes. The emotions, what he's living through.
But it's a historical time. You realize you'll never ever. I mean, sometimes you read history.
That's what I told him. I said, you're living through history. But he says the emotions of what's going on, and he said it's totally overwhelming.
Wow.
Is it going through? Is it happening?
It looks like it's going through, but it's up and down.
Right, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Can you imagine parents
No,
of children?
I don't want to imagine.
They have it.
I don't know. It's on again, off again.
Yeah, you'll be in Israel in a special time.
When you go?
Tomorrow night.
Oh, so you'll be there, yeah.
Supposedly Sunday is supposed to happen.
Yeah, till they're gonna do it, we're gonna. Who knows?
Yeah. If it happens.
Every week.
Well, it looks like it's
Drips and dribs.
Yeah.
Terrible. The way they say it and they make us agree to it like that.
You have to give the Arabs credit. They know exactly how to handle, not to play you around the finger as much as you want till the last minute, even though you're on the win.
If you could just adjust the camera a little, please, Rebbe. No, you'll speak to him on Sunday. You'll see it's.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We have Jojo is going Motzei Shabbat.
Yeah. See my kids.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Lively and Justin Baldoni.
Steve is there now, Rabbi Prague.
Oh, Steve is there.
So the question is, when is he not there?
Yeah. No, I just hung up with him. He's fine.
Your Saratsky area. I'm in like a neighborhood right there.
He says like what, 21?
21.
ויקם מלך חדש על מצרים. What is strange about this pasuk? ויקם מלך חדש על מצרים אשר ידע את יוסף. The Gemara has two pshatim. As מלך חדש means a new king, or it means the old king is changing his view. I said, all my life, this pasuk. But this pasuk is teaching us many interesting halachot. Let's say you're in construction. Rani is in construction. David wants to buy a new apartment, and Rani says, David, I'm selling you a new house. David is examining the house. It happens to be an old house. He fixed it to look like new. Is it new or not? It says the Maharsha Medrash 150 years ago. It depends on this machloket b'pasuk. What is Melech Chadash? Is it a new king, a new king from scratch?
Same person,
Oh.
different version.
Version.
Renovation.
And the 9 days you cannot build a new house, and you fix an old house to look like new. The same two opinions. Yeah, but this is the halachic aspect, but an our aspect, it comes when a person is changing his mind, he's a new person. Yeah? Very often we are stuck to what we have from the age of 20 until we put us in a box. Here, same king, changing his mind. What is he telling his people? Hinei am b'nei Yisrael rav ve'atzum mimenu. Rani, what does it mean? Read the English translation, mimenu.
Behold, the people, the children of Israel, are more numerous and stronger than we.
Than we. But you see what the English translation does? They are stronger than we. Many commentators say, mimenu, everything they have comes from us. You read it.
Oh,
Hinei Am Bnei Israel Rav ve'atzum. You know why? Remember, the Jews are sucking us. This is why they have money. This is why they have power.
the different translation in English, obviously.
But you know, they have to do the. Now, הבה נתחכמה לו, פן ירבה והיה כי תקרנה מלחמה, ונוסף גם הוא על שונאינו. If an our enemy is attacking us, the Jews are going to join them, realize, ועלה מן הארץ. If the Jews really hate you so much, why aren't you afraid that they might take over the country? Paro understood they'll never do it. But Paro, so as I'm sure you know, look a second in look a second at Rashi and the Pasuk Yud. Hava nitchakma lo, Rashi on the left column, the fourth line. ורבותינו דרשו, נתחכם למושיעם של ישראל לדונם במים. Which means the astrologist told him that the Jewish savior is going to suffer from water. You see it in Tanakh very often that astrologists have a look at the future, but a very murky type of a look. Murky. So they say here, he's going to suffer. שכבר נשבע שלא יביא מבול העולם. Okay. As we mentioned last night, and this is very important to remember because it's up to date to Israel and to us everywhere. Look back a second at 292. ותמלא הארץ אותם, says the Marin. This kid says the Kli Yakar. Had the Jewish people stayed in one area, a ghetto called Goshen, not mingle, integrate all around the Gezerah of Paro for 86 years would not exist. It's only by choice that they decided to build all over, to spread all over. Then Hashem says, okay. זאת אומרת, David, there is a big question. Shevet Levi is not working. Hashem says to Abraham Avinu, all your children have to go through the furnace of fire, Egypt. The Levim didn't go through it. The answer is, they stayed in Goshen. Being in Goshen, this was the suffering, to live around, to live in the jungle, yes. That is the epitome of morality for a righteous man is Gehenom, yes? So the Levim fulfilled the Gezerah of Abadu Min by suffering the environment around them. The others who decided Vatimaleh Haaretz Utam, we never think about it, but why 4/5 or a large amount had to die the 3 days of Choshech? It's exactly that. You get so comfortable that you forget where you're coming from. Paro doesn't want to tell the Egyptian midwives, either because the Jewish woman did not use them, or as we spoke this week. Look a second. Look at the Pasuk Yud Zayin, 294, Perek Aleph, Pasuk Yud Zayin. ותראינה המילדות את האלוהים, ולא עשו כאשר דיבר עליהם מלך מצרים. If the Pasuk would stop here, Larry, everyone understands, ולא עשו, which means they didn't kill the babies, yes? Why does the Pasuk conclude, ותחיינה את הילדים? Obviously, they didn't listen. So if you look at Rashi, please, Rashi says, look at the Rashi on 2 lines from the bottom. ותחיינה את הילדים מספקות להם מים ומזון. Not only they didn't kill the babies, when they realized that the mothers are poor, they supply the mothers and the children with מים ומזון. Look carefully what Paro is telling them. but you realize this is already extra. ויקרא מלך מצרים למילדות, ויאמר להם, מדוע עשיתם את הדבר הזה? לארי דידרי is a linguist. It should say, מדוע לא עשיתם? מה זה מדוע עשיתם? They did not do what he told them. He says to them, מדוע עשיתם?
Is that because of the sustenance or more than that?
Very good, because look what he's saying. מדוע עשיתם הדבר הזה ותחיינה את הילדים? Not only you are not doing what I asked you to kill the kids, and you are sustaining them. Obviously, you really have no interest in helping me out. This is what. This
Yeah,
is
but
what,
it's interesting. It's interesting that he ends the pasuk the same way. But the chayanet hayeladim.
is the point. This is his proof. This is his own
Correct. You don't need it both places at
But-
all.
First one was the observation they did. The second one was was
which
recognition of that.
means you realize that they are defending themselves by saying it's not really us. But the fact that you are sustaining them shows me that this is systematic. It's not because the Jewish women don't need midwives. Now listen carefully.
So
Okay,
like, why didn't Paro kill them at that point?
it's a good question. It's a good question. But remember, according to
There's other
Chazal,
relations also.
like according to Chazal, she is Yocheved. Yocheved is the wife of Amram. Amram is a leader. Paro doesn't want yet everyone to realize how cool he is. Taking the wife, a midwife, the wife of the leader Amram, to kill him, it's, of course it's a nest, but from his point of view. Now pay attention now. Vayitev Elokim lameyaldot. If you look in the English translation, God benefited the midwives, yes? Vayirav ha'am, vayatzmu me'od, and the people increased, yes? Became very strong. Then, the next pasuk is, Vayehi ki yaru ha'meyaldot et ha'elohim, vayas lahem
Should
batim.
have been in the first place.
Oh, very good, very good. First, let's understand Pasuk 21. Then we'll go back to David's question. Look at Pasuk 21. Vayash lahem batim, batei kehuna, veLeviya umalchut. These two wives, Yocheved and Miriam, it's page 294 on Rashi on the left column of the bottom. Rashi says the reward for them was Kehuna veLeviya miYocheved. Aaron is the son of Yocheved. This is Kehuna. Leviya umalchut miMiriam. Okay? So according to Rashi, Pasuk 21 is really the reward. So David was asking, so 21 should have been before 20, yes? Or should
This
be,
continuation of
or Vayitev Elohim lameyaldot. What is it? Vayas lahem batim. Understand what he's asking? Listen to a fascinating shot. A young couple had a child with a lot of problems in the children's hospital in Philadelphia. The custom is, I'm sure you saw it, everyone saw it. The kid that stays in the hospital for a long time when he's cured, the parents make a little party for the department.
Celebration.
The father was a real mentor, and he came to Rav Shvei, and he said, what should I do? Everyone makes says, if you listen to me, says, every year come with your child to the hospital and show the nurses how we develop.
Yeah.
And don't make a
Right.
party.
don't make a party.
Don't make a party. The reward would be
See.
when he became Bar Mitzvah. He did it for 13 years, then he threw a party, and
Nice.
a nurse says to him, 13 years until Bar Mitzvah. A nurse wrote to him, you have no idea how much strength. Remember, this is not the regular maternity. This is kids that are,
Yeah, very.
says every year, every time we saw your child, you give us strength to start again.
Renewed strength.
Says Rabbi Shvei, I took it for the pasuk. You look at the pasuk. Vayitev Elokim lameyaldot. Biggest reward for the midwives was Vayirav ha'am vayatzu me'od. As they saw that the people are becoming stronger, this is the reward. Look at your achievement. Then personally, Moshe, Aaron, Miriam, Malchut, it's a beautiful pshat in
The
the
real hatava is
Hatava is when you see the
see the
fruit.
accomplishment.
Many commentators say the reason why Moshe becomes the leader is because his mother basically, in the big headed the reservation, because otherwise the new coming generation would have been killed.
So, my oncologist in Boston, he retired, every year I send him a basket of fruit. He wrote me last night, he says, me and my wife, he retired, and me and my wife, we created ourselves with the joy of medicine. It's been a religious experience to take care of individuals and then become their good friends. Years later, I still in touch with him, he writes me. He gets a lot of reward out of it, and I don't want to give him that respect.
Yeah, but this is people don't realize. A nephew of Rav Shlomo Zalman, I read it last week. A nephew of Rav Shlomo Zalman comes to him and he says, I'm taking care of a very poor man that has to undergo a serious operation by a big doctor, but he cannot afford. In Israel, it's socialized medicine. So if you really want to have a doctor, you have to pay under the table, you pay cash straight. Says he operated, but it's an enormous amount. So Shlomo Zalman says, so what are you suggesting? So he says to Shlomo Zalman, maybe I can bring you to the doctor, doctor's home, and just ask him to. So Shlomo Zalman says, if I just go and ask him, he says, you take me there and see what to do. This is what it is. It takes him, the famous professor, I forgot his name, and the doctor was surprised that Mr. Stern brings
This rabbi.
and he sits to the table and he starts just to praise the doctor. You know how many people personally I know that you took care of them. Really, he tells him stories. Then he sees the wife. He says to the wife, you realize this good you have. Very often, your husband in the middle of the night has to run out. He didn't talk about the money at all. He left, he thanked him very much. He didn't talk about the money. He did not talk. You remember Ms. Lublin in NYU?
Sure, of course.
Ms. Lublin was the representative of the Kocholim, but she was she ran
She controlled the hospital.
she controlled the hospital.
She knew which doctor to go to. When she said to give this person an appointment, she did it. She needed a room, she got it. Whatever. She needed an apartment, she got it. She was an elderly woman with heavy accent. You would never look at her and say, this lady.
Exactly. My uncle, Zichrono Livracha, my father's brother, was stabbed 40 years ago by two Arabs. They jumped on him and they stabbed him. Basically, he remained paralyzed for life. There was a time that they thought he was dying. They brought him to America. An ambulance in Batzala. We took him from the plane. At 4 seats, he couldn't sit. Bring him to NYU. Anyway, they took an X-ray at the time. Found out that he's shunned. He has a blockage. I was there. I was the translator for my cousin. The doctor was a German doctor, Dr. Lansdorf. He was the head of Lansdorf. German doctor. Anyway, so he comes, he says to the family, this is it. He has to be operated immediately. He says, this was Friday. And he says to Miss Lublin, you know that I never come on Shabbat. Shabbat is my day off. But of course, for you, I'll come. Then I told him, why are you coming? He says, this is Miss Lublin. But how can you say no to this woman? No, which means the doctor says, you can't say no to her. Yeah. And you know how much money, this is a private, says whatever the insurance pays, whatever they pay is fine, the rest is well, I was very touched. This is it. She had a heavy accent. Since then, I go over many times home to work. What made you involved in Kocholim? She was Yiddish. She was a Polish immigrant to Israel in the late, like 36 or something. And she says, husband, this is like in the early 50s, was injured in his job and Israel couldn't help him. So he went to Mount Sinai. Says, I'm a mother of two in Israel, and no one. He says, my husband was in a room of 40 other patients. No one came to visit my husband for weeks and weeks. So then I had to take the two kids. This is how she came to back. And she was a real chalutz. Says to me, I decided that this will never happen. Yes. I mean, you know, the reason I remember it is because they're coming out with a book. And the woman that comes out with a book spoke to my cousins and me just in this particular
Book on heart?
and her. And I said, not to see a single woman that she was a kindergarten teacher, that's it. Barely spoke English. No, but this is the point. This is Vayitem. When you see,
I remember there was also maybe even one named Rebbetzin Wiesenfeld.
yeah,
Her husband was originally
Yes,
started
yes,
medical referrals. She took over. I don't know why she took over from him. Maybe it wasn't well something. But she was an
he died. What do you
encyclopedia.
mean? He died. He died.
So she was an encyclopedia of medical information, and you call her. She was a little gruff, so you had to know how to speak to her. People couldn't relate. They asked me to call her to get the information from her. But one day, a woman who had breast cancer was asked to call us. She says, "This doctor's in Mount Sinai. Don't go to that doctor, and don't go to Mount Sinai." I said, "Why?" He says, "At Mount Sinai, they don't treat the patient; they treat the disease."
They say the day about slow. The day they say slow.
They don't. So they're going to put her in a trial. Maybe she'll make a major way, but it's not going to be specifically for her. And P.S. Many years later, when I went to Sloan, they wanted to put me in a trial, and I thought about the Rebbetzin. She said, no, they wanted to treat the disease. I was fresh meat for them. I ended up not going there because of what she told me.
You know that she was the granddaughter of the first grade, yes? Her mother was the daughter. She's Rabbi Zach's.
Right.
Yes. Assistant. She was assistant.
Rabbi Hillel Zach's
Yeah. Rabbi Zach's mother was the daughter of She was assistant. She married a very
By the way,
special.
I never met her personally. And when they get an invitation in the mail, for Wiesenfeld to go to a wedding, I didn't know what she looks like. I go into the wedding hall, I hear her voice. I said, Rebbetzin Wiesenfeld? Yeah. She said, I'm the Ashkan that invited you.
This type of people are the pillars of our society. Yeah. Without noise, without picture, without rewards, without. Vayelech ish mibeit Levi.
Rosh Yeshiva, Philadelphia, Rabbi Sven.
Vayelech ish mibeit Levi vayikach et bat Levi. Why is the Torah allowing this? Is מה זה vayelech ish? Vayelech ish mibeit Levi vayikach et bat Levi.
Very generic.
Now 2 points here. Hey, as you know, according to Chazal, Amram is one of the leaders. He separated from his wife.
Right, that's where you'll.
There's no point of having children. This is what the Gemara. Every man divorced his wife because his daughter, pay attention, Miriam at this time is approximately 5 or 6. The Gemara says she tells her father, you are worse than Paro. And he is convinced. Don't you think it's a little funny that a little girl, obviously she's much more mature.
Yeah.
But your father is a great rabbi. Says Rabbi Kamenetsky, you see from here, you hear this? Only Rabbi Kamenetsky will say it. The Gemara says that the woman has sometimes instinct what's right and wrong. You hear this? And Amram listened to his young daughter. Be'emet, the Gemara says that she had a prophecy. And she said, Atida imi, my mother is going to give birth to the Goel. All my life I thought that she came to him when she was pregnant. I saw in Maharsha yesterday, he wants to say that she came before, this is how she convinced him.
Wow.
בתר האישה ותלד בן, ותראה אותו פתאום. She realized when he was born that something special about him. Rashi says the house is full of life. ותצפנהו שלושה ירחים, the Egyptians followed every woman who became pregnant. But she gave birth after 6 months and 1 day, premature, so 3.
Oh.
ולא יכלה עוד עצפינו, she cannot hide him anymore. She puts him in a... ותתעצב אחותו מרחוק לדיה, מה יעשה? A question. Why is she standing there? If she had a prophecy and she believes in it, you know that nothing is going to happen to your brother.
Yeah.
I just want to see how it would happen.
Oh, so two commentators say what Jack says. Isaac Shell says it, and the Rav Kahneman. He says she knew for sure that he's going to be saved. She wanted to see how.
Wow.
I mean, really, the way they say it is. I mean, if you want, this comes with a very good story. Rav Kahneman used to go to South Africa, many Jews, very wealthy, not religious, used to give him a lot. This is in the 50s, in the beginning. Yeah. And he came Friday night, and it was new. People told him that people are tired Friday night, and sure, he says, I'm going to speak exactly for a minute and a half. So the Gabbai look at it, gets up, and he's asking this question. Why is she standing there? She's a prophet. The answer is she was not standing there to see if he's saved, to see who has the right to save him.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
much
Who
more
would get
than
that
how.
privilege? Wow.
Who is going to have the privilege? Says Rav Kahneman, Hashem
Who's gonna step up
promised us that the Torah is going to be supported. I came here to see who will have
Who's
the
gonna step up?
support.
Who's gonna get the
And he
privilege?
got off.
Wow, it's a great presentation.
Ronnie, was it better than your speech? Remember that one time?
There's one, but they
Tell
took up, Rabbi Kalman went to a shul on a Shabbat afternoon, they wouldn't let him speak. They wouldn't let us speak, but I'm desperate, I can't make my
One word.
expenses. Just let me say one word. Got up and said, hell.
You did that once too.
Yeah, I did. I did
You
once.
remember that?
I didn't say the words, I put it on a poster.
Yeah, I
had it
remember,
put it
I
in for
remember.
Shabbat.
I remember.
I'm not gonna say anything.
You just held it up.
So
That was
this-
it. That's
Just
it,
held
right?
So this is
Before
one.
Chalim, right?
So this is one interpretation. The other interpretation, this is Gadol Mod, says Moshe Shmuel Shapira said, she says, I cannot help him, but let me at least feel his pain by standing.
Even better, wow.
This is something new. אתמול ראיתי את זה פעם ראשונה בחיים שלי. אבל it's so appropriate.
Wow.
Now it's so appropriate now, especially now. She says, there's nothing I can do. Let me just feel what he feels, the danger that he's in. Now, let me ask you a question. Your name is Miriam, and you see that the princess of Egypt is approaching, and she has an interest in the Teva. What would you pray? Hashem made her suffer a heart attack or stroke, or both. Make her blind. Meantime, Hashem says, my dear Guru, she is the one who's going to save you. As in real life, very often we are in a situation that we are convinced this is terrible. Hashem says,
Here's Yeshua.
this is the pillar. Think about it. Anyway, Bat Paro is saving him according to Chazal. She is regretting being the daughter of Paro. Yeah, but the question is what made her? She's a princess.
I know.
The princess.
It's crazy.
Answer is my father has his power because of the Jews. And to do the opposite to the Jews, to drown them in the Nile, where the Nile is the one who's blessed by Yaakov.
So the
There's
way it was
something
like
wrong.
a rebellion on her part.
She's
so to speak.
rebelling against
the principle.
against his father. And the beauty is, it says in the Pasuk, she Yarda Luchotz. Look at the Rashi. She says, Yarda Luchotz Migilulei Beit Avia. Look at the Rashi. See the Rashi? Luchotz. No, it's not here. It's the Gemara Sotah. What is the language? This is what it means. Yes. My father believes in the Nile, and in the Nile is punishing the Jews. You are what you are because of that. She realized that this is the opposite from Okay, anyway, she has this zchut. ותפתח ותראו את הילד והנה נער בוכה. All the commentators, ותראו את הילד,
Starts out as a baby.
baby, and then she saw now. Okay, so those who, the big speakers say, she realizing the cry of the Moshe, that this is the cry of the Jewish people in the future. Fine. Listen to this. Rabbi Kamenetsky very often is a master of Pshat. Listen to this. When she brings he says like this, when she brings the bassinet, she hears a baby crying before she opens it. She expects to see an infant, tiny infant.
Yeah.
Veinei now is 3 months old. So Veinei, Nulari, where do you see that the word Veinei?
Shmuel. Oh, no, I'm talking about Shmuel had the same thing. Yell.
Boker Veinei Yileya. Says Rabbi Kamenetsky, every time in Tanakh he was a master of Tanakh, every time Veinei means disappointment here. But Tiftach Vatireu Veinei is enough.
It's not what you expected.
Not what I expected. But as we say every year, because it's very appropriate every year, especially this year, says the Baal HaTurim, Veinei Na'ar Bochei is Aaron.
Yeah.
But ותראו את הילד, she saw Aaron is crying. Say the commentators, but Omer, he must be Jewish, the baby. You know why?
Because somebody cares.
By Jews, one cares to the other
Each other.
person to cry, Veinei.
So in other words, was that was helped her understand? Was it because they say how the baby was dressed or wrapped up in certain blankets that only the Jews wore, but it's different than that in this case.
I read many books about the Holocaust, and very often Polish Jewish women who disguise themselves as
Movie.
I said it, but I don't want to.
what?
No, in the movie, the baby was wrapped in clothing that only the Jews wore, so that she knew it was Jewish because of the blanket that was in the movie. It's not that she.
We'll add it in.
Maybe because she saw that.
Rashi says what he says. Rashi says.
At least we caught the Godfather.
Why do you
On
think?
honeymooners.
See, the movie had to be produced by people who are politically correct. You know how she knew he's Jewish? Because he was not black and he was not brown. He was white.
Yeah.
And the Egyptians are, you see the baby. There aren't in Egypt babies like
These are all
this.
dark complexions.
This is the easiest way.
Queen of Sheba. Right.
But yeah, you have to understand, why does she need a proof that he is Jewish?
Yeah.
Which mother would put her baby in the womb? The answer is, look on top of the page. ויצב פרעה לכל עמו לאמור. לכל עמו. Says Rashi, אף עליהם גזר. This was one day that Paro says every baby in the country, Jewish or not. So when she saw the teva, she's not sure that this is Jewish. Maybe it's an Egyptian. Because today every mother has to get rid of a baby. Maybe an Egyptian mother did. So she needed proof. What's the proof? Either the Brit Milah, yes, or the complexion, or according to the movie. You understand?
Rabbi, I heard in Musar once that the daughter Paro extended her arm, but it was much further.
Yeah,
And then, so because her arm was able to extend, she knew there's something.
See, there are two interpretations. Vatishlach et amato. You see, Vatishlach et amata means she sent a maid, or she extended her hand. All the commentators say the same. If I see a teva 20 feet away from
Why
me,
even trying?
answer is you do
Take the
whatever
first
you,
step.
whatever you do whatever you do.
First step.
You know, sir, we read it always any way you want, but I read a book written with the wife of Rabbi Wolbe. She described basically how she was in a boat. The boat was attacked by a German torpedo. The boat is on fire. And they saw another boat next to them. And someone screams to her, jump. She says, there's no point in jumping. She says, but I found myself in the back of 10%.
I found myself in.
In the other boat.
Somehow. She
She
made the
jumped.
attempt, despite the fact that she was at risk of dying from the jump.
Sure, you remember in Adam's book, there was one of the first books. That one of the days, the Nazis wanted to say, should it be safe or not, is you have to jump over a big pit, which means if you are really strong, you can jump whatever.
Not.
And there was a fellow next to him, and he says, Rabbi, we are both finished. And he says to him, hold my hand,
Oh my hand.
close your eyes. Whatever, say whatever you want to.
Wow.
No, but it's real life. I mean, you know, we are scared to look at it this way. But in real life, there are many situations that it looks like it's over. There is a very famous Gemara here, yes? Why is Miriam offering the mother to find a nurse mother? Because Moshe refuses the nurse from the Egyptian woman. So the Gemara says, Pe she'atid ledaber el hashchina,
Yeah.
not nurse from the. So this is Moshe, correct?
Yes.
If you look at Shulchan Aruch, you read there, it says a milk of a non-Jewish woman is fine. The Jewish mother cannot find any other milk, but try not to. Why? Because of this story here. You see that so the question is, Moshe Rabbeinu is Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is going to speak to Hashem. Says Rabbi Kamenetsky, this is only Gdolim can say, the Torah looks at every baby a potential Moshe Rabbeinu. He's not going to be Moshe Rabbeinu. If you look at every baby, potentially can become someone special. The way we treat him when he's young, this is the way he's going to grow.
Rabbi's away. Rabbi's away for Shabbat.
Look a second in Pasuk Yud. ויגדל הילד, ותביאהו לבת פרעה, ויהי לה לבן. I mean, did you ever think about it? A white baby, cute baby is in the palace, everyone has a black complexion. And don't you realize it is Jewish? No, she adopted him. ותקרא את שמו משה, ותאמר כי מן המים משיתים. Read the English translation, please.
Boy grew up and she brought him to the daughter Paro, and he was a son to her. She called his name Moshe, as she said, for I drew him from the water.
Listen carefully again. What is the name Moshe? I drew him from the water. So his name should have been Nimshe, no?
Oh.
Nimshe, he was pulled away. Say the commentator, of course she doesn't know what she's saying. His job was to pull many people from the water in his life. You know what the leader is? Vatikra Shmo Moshe. He's a drawer, not
A puller.
Rabbi,
He's a puller.
his parents didn't name him.
The Gemara says that he had five other names. The Torah is telling us the reward of a non-Jewish woman who is willing to go out of the way to help others. They are afraid to read this lesson so much. All the mitzvot that we do are great, but to go out under, she's a daughter of Paro, she's crazy. The Gemara said that her maids told her, your father says to kill all the babies, you're saving Jewish baby. She did it. But the Krach Moshe, the Zohar says that once a week, Batya has the right to see Moshe. Me and you will not have this. Most rabbis don't have this food. She has, you know why? She went out.
She has a mean today.
She did.
Yeah.
The Zohar says every week, Batya has the reward to see Moshe.
And he did name their daughter Bakia also.
If you remember, in next week, Parashah, Makat Dam, by every Makkah, you see clearly that Paro suffers the same as others, except Makat Dam. Says Rabbi Kamenetsky, because Paro raised Moshe, this was the reward of Paro. Since your palace, also to show you, it's not saving Paro because He's not saving Moshe because he loves Moshe. He's doing it because it's his daughter's baby. The reward was
He's gonna
there.
have a reward regardless,
Yeah.
even the intent. We're not-
Okay, then Moshe shows that he really cares for those who suffer. He runs away. According to the Ramban, he's under 20. He disappears now for more than 60 years. Let's look a second at the revelation of the snare. Look carefully. Pasuk, it's page 300. פרק ג' ומשה היה רואה צאן יטבוך אותנו כהן מדיין, וינהג את הצאן אחר המדבר. Where is he grazing? With them in the desert. Why is it Torah telling us? Who cares where he's grazing? The Torah is teaching us Moshe Rabbeinu is not stealing. People don't realize. Yaakov, Moshe, honesty.
Abraham too.
אברהם אותו דבר בדיוק, the Muslims, ויפתח את הגמרים,
Right, correct.
ויבוא אל הר האלוהים חורבה, וירא מלאך השם אליו בלבת האש מתוך הסנה. Now, a snare, I mean, I'm using the word like a sabre plant, yes, has a lot of food, yes. וירא, והנה הסנה בוער באש. והסנה איננו מוכר. So what did he saw? He saw fire, but somehow the snare is not consumed. ויאמר משה, please listen carefully, אסור נא ואראה את המראה הגדול הזה. Let me come closer. מדוע לא יבער הסנה? So of course, if I would have to teach it, I would say, how come the snare is not consumed? Look at the language. מדוע לא יבער? מה זה לא יבער? You see flames. Of course, the snare is on fire. You should say, מדוע לא נשרף הסנר? מה זה מה?
No, בוער הסנה.
זה לא יבער. The snare is בוער. The pasuk is describing. I saw this morning, listen to this. This is so appropriate for today. He saw that the flame is inside of the bush. The outside is not touched. Yes?
On the inside.
מדוע לא יבער הסנה? How come the entire snare is not in flame? How come the fire is only... Says the Sefer Divrei Yirmiyahu, this is what he says. Moshe Rabbeinu, 60 years ago, when Datan ben Aviram are informing Paro about him, says, אכן נודע הדבר. Moshe says, I wonder, how come the Jewish people are suffering? Now that I see that they are informing on each other, I understand. This is good what Hashem, I saw it this morning, it affected my tefillah. He says Hashem is telling him, the inside of every Jew is a fire. The outside is very thorny, you hear this? You're wondering how come the fire is from inside and the outside is not? You know, they say like Israelis are like the sabra, yeah, if you touch it, it's very...
Quickly.
Hashem is telling him, this is the essence of the Jewish people. We are not nice to each other, we are not always so this, so that, but
Inside.
deep inside, as we see always in times of difficulty.
Oh, the Pintalayid.
But this is, we see, he learns that this is the Pintal Eid is right here. Because you see the fire inside and the outside is not consumed. Because the outside looks like there's no fire there, but the fire is Toch HaSneh. Hashem tells him you have to move your shoes. Says the Ramban, every time you have a revelation of the presence of Hashem, you move your shoes. What is the symbol of the shoes there? You're on the shoes, right? Every morning, half a second. Every morning, we say the Baracha She'asari Kol Tzofi. Says the Gemara, in the time of the Gemara, when you put your shoes on, says the Shalah, you hear? shoes, the shoes symbolize the power that Hashem gave people. The shoes gives us the right to kill animals. The
Step
shoes,
on, step on the heart.
this is why on Yom Kippur you remove your shoes to show in the presence of Hashem I have no power.
No ga'ava?
This is why I have no power of my own. It's not mine. In Beit HaMikdash you have to walk without shoes. Shalna alecha me'al raglecha. When you really realize that Hashem is involved in your life, remove your shoes, take your selfishness away. This is the other message is if you are a leader, you have to step on shoes and to feel every pebble. This is what the leader you are.
Without
Feel
shoes.
pain.
Oh, when
Feel
you're
pain.
barefoot, you
Feel
it.
the pain.
When you're barefoot, you
Feel.
it.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom.
Today, mostly leather shoes.
You know, isn't it amazing? Yeah. Used to be the healthiest